About a year and a half ago, I got a lot of attention on YouTube for a series of videos I made about how to roll trolls and stump Trumpists. This was before the election, and people were eager to figure out how to engage with the Trumpists, how to try to see if you could get them to come out off of their tree. There's a lot of attention, and out of it came a study group that has been going since about a year and a half ago. Meets every other Sunday. These are people from all over the country and to some extent the world, trying to figure out how to engage with people there's no talking to. How to touch or poke the touchy untouchables, or as we say in our most elaborate formation of it, how to humbly humble or humiliate humans who will say or do anything to avoid human humility. The rule in this research group is repertoire, not recipe. There is no one solution. In fact, everything we do, everything we try to reach someone who has entered that kind of state of mind, that elation, that addiction I call being herobotic, that is robotically playing hero, that you're right, righteous, and mighty no matter what, all of that stuff. There is no one recipe. You've got to have a repertoire because their sole goal is to make sure that nothing works. Remember, they are trying their hardest. They are willing to say or do anything to avoid human humility, any kind of receptivity. They are, technically speaking, absolutists, meaning that they are absolutely or dissolved away from any kind of influence. They are incorrigible, literally uncorrectable. They are uninfluenceable. They are enjoying the haven they get from feeling like they've solved reality, and that their only future work is in tutoring the rest of the world on how to deal with reality since they've actually solved it. These days you're hearing the usual recipes. The recipes include don't engage with them, suck the air out of the conversation with them, gray rock them, that sort of thing. That's a standard move, and it's got its uses and it's also got its abuses. People say, never fight with a pig, you'll just get dirty and the pig likes it. Well, this is what happens when you don't fight with pigs, is you end up getting dirty and the pig likes it anyway, the way that the Trump movement has gone. You've got that kind of approach. You've also got all sorts of approaches that are about reaching out and connecting with them human to human. Now, I'm very much in favor of these. An example would be Steve Hassan's recommendation, which is if you try to find points of rapport with them and then ask them questions and get their responses. It's also related to street epistemology. These are wonderful approaches, but if you think those recipes will always work, you are wrong. Because actually, the point for these guys is to make sure that nothing works. If you are in a state of mind, enjoying the bliss of being literally incorrigible, your sole goal is to make sure that nothing works on you. So in the study group that's been meeting every other week, we recognize that nothing we do is surefire. Nothing we do is even mildly satisfying. And then you've got these people who are saying, no, you have to do debate with these people. You have to engage with them and show them or show them up, but show them somehow that they haven't got it all figured out, that they're wrong about things. And some of those are very effective and satisfying for the audience if the audience is, let's say, anti-Trump or anti-cult, whatever the cult. And I think that's my main point here. You don't have to bone up on all the facts, because that's actually not what's going on. By now, it's very straightforward what's going on with these people. It could go on with anybody. It's got nothing to do with what they claim to believe. The evidence is in, and they don't care at all about the things they claim to care about so much that it trumps all other considerations. That is not what's going on here. And to engage with them on content, even Epstein Island, is to miss the point of what's going on here. What's going on with these people is that they have found the satisfaction of pretending that they've solved reality. It's a huge joy and relief. It is the broad, generic definition of woke. Woke means you've seen the light, taken the red pill, escaped Plato's cave. You're now the realist. You've got it in your bones. You have the revelation that is the truth has been revealed to you. And now your only job is to crusade and teach everybody else about the truth because you have it. That is quite the high. That is the high of absolutism and of absolution, because you feel like you're now one of the heroes. You're a hero bot. You are robotically playing hero. So when you hear these people say, ask them questions and try to get at what they really, really think and really feel. Try to open them up that way. There's some use for that, but I don't think nearly as much use as to call it the main thing you should try with them. And I will get to what I think you should try with them. And then also the pride of, I don't want to talk to them. Their egotism is beneath me. I'll never understand people like this. That's another self-satisfying place to go. I don't think it's the right, most effective thing we can be doing, especially at this point. Because by now we have let things go so south with this cult that all of that coaxing, first of all, they're just milking it. It is working for them. You may not think it is. You may think that they should be losing sleep over their hypocrisy. No, that's not what it's like to be a Trumpist. To be a Trumpist is to feel eternally heroic. And you're not going to give up that confidence. What Trump has sold to people for free at the expense of everything that matters to us in the long run, what he has sold them is unconditional self-confidence. That is really all that's going on. For example, we are going to see a bunch of Republicans or Trump supporters who were fevered about the Epstein files give Trump a pass on it. They don't actually care about that any more than they cared about the price of eggs. They may care about them, but that is not what's driving them. What makes them solidly in Trump's camp is this feeling that they've got that they're done. They got the freedom from ever having to doubt themselves, from ever having to learn anything again. They are enjoying feeling like God. That is almighty, all right, all righteous. Nothing wrong with their approach. Anybody who disagrees with them is bad, weak, stupid, evil, all of that. I deal with Trump supporters a lot. I deal in one-on-one conversations with intellectual-sounding Trump supporters and with trolls and all of them. And so I want to get to my updated version of what I think is the best technique these days. Wouldn't fit for all times. It wouldn't fit in 2015. There are other things you might do. Though I think this one's quite robust, and you'll be pleased to know it doesn't require that you study up on the facts and all of that. What it really comes down to is what I'll call carrot sticking, which is being really loving to the person. That is carrots, rewards, all of that as a person. And absolutely merciless, carrot sticking, you're also beating with a stick, for their MO. Nothing but their MO. These are people who will say or do anything to avoid feeling anything less than the superhero rescuing us all from everything evil. That is, they will say or do anything to avoid human humility. So when I'm talking to someone, whether it be a troll or a good friend, even a relative, what I'm mostly doing is being totally loving while laughing at them. Laughing at them for what? Not for believing things that I don't believe. No, for getting off in this public way on their self-flattery. Basically for masturbating in public. I only really have one message I'm trying to get across to them. Self-love is important, but get a room. Don't let it go to your head. Zip up after and do not turn basic infrastructure into your circle jerk vanity project. I'm not trying to get them to believe what I believe. I'm not trying to do anything but pointing out that you are basically self-pleasuring in public. You don't care about politics. You don't care about these moral principles. You are enjoying playing dress-up hero. This is all bravado. It's just word salad to make you satisfied with yourself. It's self-satisfying word salad is what it is. It's got all the strut that any of these movements have ever had, whether they're on the left, the right, religious, spiritual, atheistic, or no cause other than cause I said so. It's a thing that humans do. I wouldn't put it past me or anyone to do this. It's tempting to play God. It's easier to play God than be human, or to play God's ally and supporter, or God is your name droppable best friend in the form of Donald Trump, whatever. That's all that's really going on. And I think when we try to talk to them as if they are sensitive souls who we can draw out by being warm with them, or that we can have a real debate with them about the content of things because there's any part of them that still wants to be right. I don't think that stuff works. I think it enables them. You do not ask a psychopath if they really think this or that. You don't actually try to talk facts with them because you know that they've just got layer upon layer upon layer of herobotic shamelessness. These are people who basically have bought into something where if you put a label on yourself that you're pro-MAGA, then you get a major uptick in self-confidence. You are automatically and eternally free from self-doubt. You are on the side of good against the side of bad. That's, I think, what has drawn people in to a movement like this. They talk about, us soldiering up and getting tough and all of that. They talk about how we have to fight to take our country back. It is the most cushy thing they could have possibly done. It requires no sacrifice on their part. All it is a major uptick in self-confidence, self-flattery, self-assuredness, and the reassurance of having Trumpists on their side. So because I deal with these guys all the time, I hear what they really have as content, and it's content free. It's just, if you disagree with me, you're wrong, evil, weak, and stupid. And so all I can do in such a situation realistically is to touch them like a human being and poke at them for what they're doing as a human being. I do not want to credit their ideas. Their ideas are not ideas. They're just strutting. They're the same strutting you'd get from a Stalinist, just a different lifestyle brand. I don't want to give any credibility to that stuff. I just want to laugh at them for doing the stuff that we need to do in private in fiction. For example, when we play hero by identifying with heroes in movies and all of that stuff, they're doing it in public. And they're turning basic infrastructure into their circle jerk vanity project. So I just laugh. And they get all insulted. It's very funny to hear them say, how dare you sneer at me? This from the Trump movement, you can tell they don't give a shit about any of the moral principles they claim to care about the most. All they want to say is, when we do it, it's heroic. When you do it, it's villainous. That's all they're doing. And you got to focus there if you actually want to make any progress or any traction with them. And you're not likely to anyway, because like I say, they will say or do anything to avoid accepting any reflection on their own behavior. They do not want to go there. The whole thing is a protective shell. They're hiding inside of a spiked suit of armor. And what I'm suggesting as the general strategy that I think is the appropriate one these days, it really is staying calm, not overreacting, not getting apoplectic, not talking about how they're shocking, none of that stuff. That is enabling. If you have an emotional reaction to them, then they just get to say, you see, you're a snowflake, you can't handle my truth, that sort of thing. They'll say anything to claim that they won. They will run away and claim they've won. So all you can do is sit there calmly, lovingly to the extent you can. That is, I still see you're a human being, or if it's a friend or relative, you make the connections that you have as strong connections, but you laugh mercilessly at what they're doing. And it's got nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with principles or morality. It's just the herobotic addiction, the addiction to playing hero, which could be satisfying to any of us. It wouldn't be satisfying to us if it came from a completely foreign lifestyle brand we've been against all our lives. But I know plenty of leftists, plenty of liberals, plenty of spiritualists, plenty of atheists, plenty of academics who will do the same strut. It's the same damn strut, different lifestyle brands. So what I'm saying is, we're human beings. This is a tendency we've got, just like alcoholism is. Okay? And you happen to be an alcoholic. And it's funny to watch you defend yourself and deny your alcoholism, because it's clear you're not looking at yourself at all. You can't afford to. You're a bit of a sissy that way. You're too afraid to look at what you're doing. And it's got nothing to do with what you claim you're doing. So when they'll try to change the subject, yeah, but what about Hillary Clinton or what about whatever. Now I say, none of that stuff really matters to you. Come on. You're just strutting like you've solved reality. And just laugh. And laugh over and over and win the war of attrition, because they might want to make you go away just because you're in this calm, centered state where you love the person and you're just going to laugh at the jive they're doing, like the same way that you would laugh at a kid who's throwing a temper tantrum. If you do that long enough, that's your best chance of finally leaking through their hard-targeted armor, the shell they're operating within, the shell they're hiding within. That's your best chance of actually penetrating the shell, the suit of armor that they're wearing. This is not a case of the emperor has no clothes. This is a case of the emperor disappearing inside of a spiked suit of armor. And your job, your civil duty, your civic duty, is to reach in with one finger and touch the human being in there, and reach in with the other and poke and ridicule the person, not for who they are, not for what they claim to believe, because they don't believe that stuff, but for that preening, playing soldier, hero, make-believe stuff, which they really ought to do in the privacy of their own homes. Do not turn basic infrastructure into your circle jerk vanity project. Now, if you're dealing with Trumpists, or you're dealing with difficult people at home who are pulling this off in whatever lifestyle brand, get in touch with me. Because the study group is free, no obligation to show up. People show up when they feel like it. We meet for about an hour and a half every other Sunday morning. We'd love to have your input. We keep on trying out different things. People bring in what they tried on a relative or something like that, and we talk about how we might do it different ways. Once again, the theme is repertoire, not recipe, even though I just sort of gave you a recipe, what I would suggest doing, sitting calmly, lovingly, poking them for the game they're playing, for the delusionary game they're playing in public. Okay, but that's one thing. And then the other thing is I'm a strategic consultant for people who are dealing with difficult people. It could be spouses, could be children, could be bosses, could be family members, whatever. People who will say or do anything to avoid human humility, because the strategies are often, it takes some work to tailor the strategies to your circumstances. And I have clients who've been coming to me for quite a while and finding very effective the approaches I take to this kind of psychological strategic consulting on how to get your mind back from someone who is dominating you with their pretense of having solved reality. That kind of know-it-all playing God thing that people like to do in their part-time, full-time, with some people on some topics, whatever. That kind of absolutism, the joys of absolutism, and how to sober someone out of it so that you can get along with them. Get in touch with me if you feel like it. And thanks for watching. And subscribe. And by the way, like. See you next time.